So the guided exercise that I want to bring forth during this time is called What's Calling Me Now? And the purpose of this exercise is for you to be able to hear on different levels, whether through noise or silence, what core themes might start to come up for you that will play a part in your emerging endeavors. Now, normally there's like a dual purpose to this process where the intention would be about knowing how to hear what's calling you in the present, even in a noisy world, because especially in business, I mean, online world, we're really inundated with quite a bit constantly, and sometimes you don't even know what's really calling you at the moment, or even really know your own voice, so to speak. But, within this, of being able to have some noise, and then also see if through a time of silence, if you get the same messages that you would, or you're able to hear better, through the processes. But what I'm going to focus on during this time is really leveraging both aspects, even if something different comes up during the exercises. Since there are 5, well, the royal flush, the 5 of you, what I decided to do was I'm going to actually have Tom to be the witnessing factor of this process, and meaning he's going to be sort of in observation mode to receive what's going to be most relevant for him, while the rest of you are actually going to be fully engaged by way of interaction with the exercise. So to jump sort of right into this, at this moment, I'm going to ask that King Joseph and Queen Renee pull up each other's LinkedIn profiles. So Joseph, you go to LinkedIn and pull up Queen Renee's profile, and then Queen Renee, you will go and pull up Joseph's profile.
Okay.
And so what's going to happen is I'm going to actually ask for King Rob and Queen GINA to be on the listening in and tune in to the question that I'm going to ask, what's calling me now? So when I do ask this, once I ask that question, both King Joseph and Queen Renee will start reading each other's profiles aloud. And while they're reading, what will happen is King Rob and Queen Renee, they'll just keep tuning into the what's calling me now frequency, and then write down whatever comes to mind during that time. And afterwards, I'm going to have King Rob and Queen GINA then to pull up each other's profiles and read them aloud, while King Joseph, and Queen Renee are in the reverse roles of listening through the noise. And so at the end of the exercise, there's going to be a time of silence where I'm going to re-ask the question to everyone and then have them to write down what comes up. And obviously, just like the last exercise, if nothing comes up, that's fine. And then we'll have some discussion around this before we move forward into the rest of the call. So before we actually get into this, if I need to clarify anything, just let me know. If not, is everyone ready?
So just the about section. You want us to read the about section?
I'm sorry, the summary. Yes, the summary.
Yeah.
I apologize. I was not clear on that. Yes,
okay. The about.
Yeah, just the summary part. Yes, the about. So if there's nothing else, we can go ahead and get started with that. Is everybody ready?
Yes.
Okay. So as soon as I ask the question, about maybe a second or two after, then King Joseph and Queen Renee, if you would go ahead and start reading the profile. So right now, this question is being asked for King Rob and Queen GINA, but also with King Tom as the witnesser. It's actually being asked to him too. So ask yourself the question in your mind, what's calling me now? Okay, you all can start reading.
Okay.
As the Power Zone
Meet the
coach,
multiplicity
I
mound builder.
empower business
I
owners
strongly
and
believe that
executives who are
diversifying
ready
our
to break
branding
through
and
to their
multiplying
greater
our
inner
skills and
leader
talents
and
is the
activate
next
the
wave of the
magic in
future.
their power
The
zones,
days of only
significantly
serving in
grow
one or
their
two core
career or
areas will no
business
longer
results,
suffice for
and make a
entrepreneurs in
difference
ever
in the
evolving
world through
marketplace.
their influence.
How we make our impact and income
Through
in
my
this era solely
programs,
depends upon
speaking, book,
leveraging
and partnerships based on my
multiple
6 Power
areas
Zone
of our dominant
principles,
and
I
non-dominant
have
skills.
inspired thousands of
Multiplicity
leaders
mound
to
building
leave their
allows one
comfort
to
zones,
monetize
to
several
live
areas of
and
their
perform
giftings
from
and
their power
experience in order
zones
to
where they
maximize their
turn
professional and
their
financial
leadership
success
into their
after without
greatness profit
limitation.
center
We must be
in
like
business
ants and
and
bound,
life.
build our
From
mounds of
this place,
success with
the
diligence
business
and
can finally
persistent
become the
determination
vehicle it was
toward
meant to be,
residual
and
income
they
mastery
can
and
tap
more.
into their
I demonstrate my
significant why,
multiplicity mound
creating a
building
more
effect in several
profound
ways. I'm the
legacy.
chief operating
I am
officer
living
and
proof
senior
of
vice
this
president of
outcome.
network
My
syndication
story is
at
one
the
of
Concept
courage
Multiplicity
and
Empire.
defining
AliNICOLE
moments.
WOW, she does it
This
all.
led
You
me
are
to my
primarily to be
current
part
life
of an
path of
enterprise
helping
that is
others
the
find their
pioneer
leadership
for a new
voice
area of
and more profound
multi-dimensional
purpose to
profits
make
and global
significant
impact.
changes and
This
improve
experience
their
allows me to
quality of life.
utilize several areas of my talents in addition to my
Who is our
primary
ideal
role.
client?
I have an
Executives who
extensive
want to
history in
advance their
professional training,
careers so
personal
they can make a
development,
greater
consulting
impact,
industries, along with
provide the
exceptional
tools,
skills in
coaching,
marketing
and
and sales,
guidance I
coaching,
needed to
leadership,
identify what
inspiration,
I
and health.
really wanted
I am a published
and what
author,
was
speaker,
holding me
promotional
back.
ambassador, and also cross-trained in
Business
the areas
owners
of real estate,
who would
insurance,
like their
travel,
business to finally be the
basketball,
vehicle it
mentoring, and
was meant to
spiritual
be
awareness and development,
has
to
been a
name a few.
profound
One of the
has
greatest
been a
passions is
tremendous
being able
factor
to share
in
my
helping
experience
us
of
grow
being the
into the
chief
largest
architect
and
of
highest
Mounders for
producing mortgage
helping
team in the state.
Others build lives
Speaking
worth
events.
living.
Members
It's
of your
time to
organization will be
maximize
inspired to
and
leave their
monetize
comfort
with
zone
mound
and
building.
become positive
If
agents of
you're
change
ready to
in
start
their
your
business,
multiplicity
in their
mound
lives, and
building
their business. Everyone
journey,
was
or
raving. See
interested in
more success
seeking
stories
any
and why
assistance
you
in
want
any
to
areas of my
lead
experience,
from
feel
your
free to
power
contact
zone.
me here on LinkedIn or my email at
www.powerzonecoach.com.
jjonesmoundbuilders.ws.
Well, that was synchronicitous.
Okay.
Oh, I know, huh, dude? And yours looks so long. I thought yours was longer than mine. That's cool. Okay.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. And you're going to see the purpose of why I had that to happen. So at this moment, if King Rob and Queen Gina can pull themselves together from, from that I'm going to now ask that the roles be reversed and just wait for my cue, Queen Renee and King Joseph, for me to ask you the question, and then also, of course, Tom in the witnessing stand, so to speak. So King Rob and Queen Gina, let me know when you both have each other's profiles pulled up.
I've got Rob pulled up, but I can't find the about section, which is weird.
Interesting.
LinkedIn's been weird. It's just,
I've just
you don't see it?
I've got his very short two-liner, and then it goes into highlights in terms of connections. Oh,
Did you click on the more? There's a more button.
Yeah. No, I found it now. It was hidden. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I just couldn't find it.
Okay, all right. So if you both have each other's profiles pulled up, just say you both got them.
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay, you've got it. Great. Okay, so for Queen Renee and King Joseph, what's
Yes.
calling me now? Okay, Queen Gina and Queen Rob, you can begin reading.
Rob Deptford. Teaching leaders to create brand building online video.
The Gardiner, Enlightened Leadership Program.
10,000 followers.
National TV
Get on
commentator,
camera.
politics and profits show
He
with
provides content
battle at
strategy, content
genuine
marketing,
need.
social media marketing,
What I
digital
can do for you. I help
marketing.
SME business owners lead with courageous compassion
Calgary, Alberta,
to
and
reduce
Canada.
conflict, stress, and overwhelm in their
Rob
organization
accepts free messages
so
and
they can have a more productive and profitable business, better relationships with their team, greater well-being, and
would rather
work-life
learn about
balance.
a product or service
What this
by
will
way
do
of
for you.
video. That comes from
If you
Hudson.
feel as though it is a constant battle to manage staff
Make your
effectively,
case for
you
customers
simply
to buy
cannot
them
stay
in
competitive in an ever-changing market.
content,
I can help you move from
advertising,
feeling fed up
sales,
dealing with difficult
education.
staff, struggling to hold
Business is
people to
moving
account.
online faster than
It would
ever
be easier
before.
to just do it
Those who've
yourself.
been reluctant to
Finding
create
the to-do
videos with
list
no
is
better
endless
time
and
to
overwhelming.
get behind you.
To
The
developing
fact
great
is,
relationships with your
companies that
staff,
use video
increasing
grow
staff
revenue
satisfaction and loyalty,
faster
having a
than
team
those
who think
not
for
using
themselves
video.
with a clear objective,
You don't
and
need to be a
ultimately increasing
broadcaster or
sustained
an
profitability
influencer
for the
fancy
organization as a whole.
You don't need broadcast quality
What makes me
production.
different?
All you
My
need
Enlightened Leadership
is
program takes a
smartphone,
unique
the
approach to
right
the development of
message for
leadership
each of the
and
4
is
kinds
based
of
on over
videos,
30
and
years
these
of
3 things:
successful experience. The
confidence,
program is not a quick
competence,
fix, but
and
embeds
content.
change for ongoing upward success.
Video has been a massive
You will be
difference
challenged, but
maker
you
in
will
earning
receive
time,
plenty of support
and it
along
can
the
help
way.
you too.
What
Get
others are
started
saying.
now with my free 3-part
GINA understands what it takes to produce results and lead effectively. More than that, she brings an ease of communication without compromising on straight
about learning to
communication
create
and laser
video for your
focus.
business. Here from some of my clients.
Working with her
I
brings
love
an
turning
experience
business
of working
professionals
with a
into
partner
video
who is ready
creators
to roll up
and
her
showing them
sleeves
how
and
to
make you
strategically
successful.
communicate with their customers on video throughout the buying
GINA
process.
helped me develop different leadership behaviors, and she provided invaluable support during my preparation for a public speaking engagement with senior private banking business leaders. GINA will help you reach your deliverables with exceptional results. GINA has made a bigger difference to my working life and the way I deal with things than anyone else I can think of. Described as mesmerizing by more than one person that I have introduced GINA to, her insight is uncanny.
Working with Rob
GINA's analysis is
While
delivered
I'm
in such a
reversing
way
back
as
into
to
the
hold your
corporate
attention and
conducting
focus
seminars on TBI,
focus it on real issues.
hostile corporate
If
climates.
you are going to spend time listening to anyone,
process,
GINA
market,
Gardiner should be at the top of your list.
world.
How you can reach me. If you are interested in learning more, reach out to me directly here on LinkedIn
Rob's a
or
natural teacher.
email me
His
at
vast experience in
genuinelyu.com. Call me direct at
solutions.
440-1206-230497
Working with Rob will make you feel confident due to his
or
intelligence,
schedule a call
thoughtful and
at
creative ideas. He'll be the North Star,
genuinelyu.co.
illuminating the path to a successful conclusion.
Wonderful. Okay, everyone take a nice deep breath. And now let's turn the volume up on the silence. So ask yourself again, what's calling me now? Okay, take another nice deep breath. Okay. Now we can return. So we're going to talk about this because I'm sure this was interesting to experience and engage in. And am I correct about that?
Yeah.
Yes. So one of the reasons why I took the time to do this exercise, which is actually really important because, believe it or not, this is what we are constantly experiencing basically all day, every day, even if we aren't hearing certain things in the marketplace. You're hearing about what someone else does and, you know, all the different things. It's like a constant going on. And oftentimes it can be difficult to really hear what's really calling you in the moment because there's so much of the container in which we have been, how can I say it, the way the entrepreneurial experience has been unfolding. And exercises like these, where you can introduce the duality, is some disruption that's involved as well to the mind, because it puts you in a place to have to tune in to both in the noise and in the silence. And as I mentioned prior to even starting the exercise, that I'm going to be more focused on not necessarily making distinctions, so to speak, about what you heard or if you heard anything during the noise versus during the silence. We're going to see how we can leverage it all. So if anyone wants to share their experience first of what came up for them and just what they thought about that, whether you were weirded out completely or lost, whatever, it's extremely relevant.
I was lost for sure. It's just, I'm so accustomed to tuning in, like fine tuning into conversation to listen actively. And to me, it was, I was just muddled.
You were muddled.
Yeah.
I got a sense that what we heard was now, and what we need to have is a much greater sense of future. The new era energy, we need to own it, and I think we need to own it big time. It's not, and what came to it's not time to hide your talents. We've got to be a beacon of light and hope, so that people it can be beyond the white noise. The how, no idea, but I've got the sense that that's
not your department, right? Yeah. So, and here, let me say, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Queen Renee.
Oh, I didn't know if you want to comment on each one or if you just want us to tell you what we heard. So you let me know.
Yeah, if you could, okay. Whether it's through the noise or the silence, what came up during both times. So yeah, speak to that if you don't mind.
So what I did is I tried to just listen and then the words that floated up to the top, that whether you guys' octic or just the word itself spoke louder than the other words. And so I wrote down a list of like, these are the words that came up while you guys were reading. I wrote down courage, message, ever-changing market, faster than ever before, you don't need, I don't know what that was, unique experience, not quick, easy communication, learn, partner, and strategic. So those are the words that floated above the noise, and it was not subject to either of yours. Just I was listening to both of you, and then whatever word came up and it stuck, I thought, oh, I'm just going to start writing that word down. And then when I got into the noise, I spent the time just trying to let all those extra words float away so I can get down to a clearing. And it was hard to get to a clearing.
Yeah.
Like Rob said, it was hard. It was hard.
Oh, I can imagine.
At that point, it was muddled.
Yes, I can imagine. It's not as easy sometimes to hear what is really calling you in the present and what to do when there is so much of the noise that's going on. And even to the point that when you come into the silence, sometimes it still gets hard because then you're kind of having to filter through what you heard. And you notice I didn't give as long in the silence, so to speak, as because, when the profiles and so were being read. Reason for that is because a great majority of time, the time we spend really in quiet and solitude is not as much as when we are in the business world or we have our lives and everything is constantly going on. That's really what's dominating the show, so to speak. One of the things that GINA said, and I'm going to come, to King Joseph and King Tom Tom, but Queen GINA, basically what she was explaining also was that the deeper sense of calling, or what she was hearing about coming. Can you reiterate that again in terms of how we needed to show up as the beacons of light in the new era, Queen GINA?
That there needs to be a greater emphasis on the future. It's a new era of energy. We need to own it. It's not time to hide our talents and our capacity to be a beacon of hope and light to others.
That's a collective vibration, honestly, that you've actually received, really kind of for the group. I feel the embodiment is that's what everybody, in a sense, is that is what's calling each of us, is to be in that illuminate space, and so that you do actually rise above the noise, above everything that is in the marketplace currently, where you actually can't be seen on the levels and heard on the levels in which you are here to demonstrate during this time, because there is so much of what's going on. And just as King Rob mentioned about feeling muddled and imagine if you feel that way, that's over 90% of individuals right now, when they go online trying to discover what it is they're supposed to be doing, and having to make distinctions and discern where their true place is in the marketplace, how do they show up? Because they've got so much coming at them. And again, when you get to the silence, even then, sometimes it's hard to, even be able to make that discernment. And I love the list, Queen René, that you came up with. You kind of let the creme of the creme, rise to the top, so to speak. But I'm going to come over to King Joseph and King Tom Tom, because Tom Tom actually sat in a different position, so to speak. So we'll hear from him last. But King Joseph, do you have anything to contribute as far as the exercise?
Well, I thought the exercise was a very good exercise because it kind of puts us in the place of the marketplace. And we've talked about this so many times about how there is just so much noise out there, so much noise, be it from social media, be it from television, what have you. And the consumer has to put themselves in a place of trying to discern, where do I go to get the services that I require? And with so much noise, and they're hearing so much, but yet at the same time, faith comes by hearing.
Yes, it does.
If you're hearing so much externally, then you're really not tuned in to what's taking place internally and to that inner voice. And that's where the problem comes in. So the word, if there is a word, that came to me throughout this whole exercise was innovation. We have to be innovative in our motivation and in our inspiration and in our presentation. We have to be innovative, because what we've been hearing and what we've been experiencing and seeing from all of these different business models and society models and religious models, all of that is on the way out. And so we have to bring something, not bring something, we have to be something very, very new and very, very different. And that's where the innovation comes in. So that type of inspiration and motivation from that space is what's needed. And that's what was coming to me.
Wow.
That is, wow. Yes, that is. And I love what you said, because really what I was hearing, if I heard you correctly, you said innovation, right? Not just innovation, innovation, right? Because the innovation, yes, is what's going to bring forth the newer innovations that will come forth. That is how you rise up above the noise and again become illuminate. And everything that everyone has shared so far has really been on point, and it has really been what I would expect, different variations to come up during an exercise like this, because really what you're tapped into, in a sense, is not just the entrepreneurial realm of what entrepreneurs, so to speak, are going, but very much what Joseph was saying in terms of the consumer. And remember, because there's a whole sea of people who are not new era consumers at this point. All right. So they're still in the system of the what wasness and the what isness that really is fading fast. But by the time those foundations really officially crumble, because people aren't already in the emerging energy, then, you know, they're going to be stuck with that fallout. But at the same time, here is where the good news comes in for this Mastermind Alliance, because this is the time that what's going on within this space is where everything's going to take place, just as Queen Gina mentioned, in terms of there's no time to not be illuminate. So being able to now bring the innovation that King Joseph is talking about, so that it can become the innovation that then leads to the illumination for the marketplace. This is what's going to cause that overtaking factor, is to be able to get above the muddleness, because there has to be a settling at some point. And the only way that's going to happen is when people can see who actually is really standing out, and not just standing out as what they've seen before, okay? Because they're not really going to trust what they've seen before. And even though they may be skeptical in some cases of things new, but see, when you don't have a choice, it's something different. And what I'm saying to you all is this is where things are headed, where people are not going to have a choice, but to get in alignment with this greater expansion. And as that's happening, when you have the structures, the new era structures, and the individuals in place like yourself, that's why I'm mobilizing you all, so that you can be these pillars in the marketplace. You can be not just these one-of-a-kind brands, but really divine empire expressions that people, they're not going to have a choice but to come that route, because it's going to be like having to have bread and air. That's how serious this calling is. And so that's why being able to bring forth an exercise of this nature is so that it puts you in tune and in touch with not only your importance of your calling and your mission, but also understanding where entrepreneurs who are having a hard time being able to tune in and hear and even find you all, okay, in a marketplace, being able to tune in and find you all as well. So that was, like I said, one of the primary purposes is to be able to allow you all to be in tune and in touch more of this is what's going on holistically. So I'm going to bring Tom in real quick and just want to hear from him. And, you know, then if anybody else has anything else to say around that before we move forward, we'll allot for that. So Tom, we'd like to hear from the witnessing stand.
Well, I don't have a whole lot except, you know, the only thing that came to me is, you know, unlocking your powers for and encoding for you know, next levels of greatness, and that's the thought that keep beating me over the head. Yeah,
I can imagine so. Well, for you, definitely, I can imagine so. But what you're saying is really true for everybody. It is time to, you know, unlock that encoding. And that's part of why even with your empires and the emergence of the evolution is that is unlocked from your entrepreneurial encoding, but it also sort of embeds your lifestyle encoding as well, which, you know, we'll get a little bit more into that, because this is a very deep and layered process and experience, and it's very holistic. And the reason why it has to be is because it really is time to bring the whole of who we are to the world. It's no time anymore for half-baked stuff, you know, showing up, where leaders have their skill sets in place and they can talk and communicate and be extremely articulate and have all the fine words and all these processes. But then there's so many other areas in their lives that are extremely out of alignment that also tie in. That vibration is what's coming in through their products and programs and all those different things. So within the new era experience with the Royal Flush, you know, Mastermind Alliance, is that we are resetting and recalibrating and being re-engineered so that the whole of the experience is played out in a very, very magnificent way, that it's really going to help people to be exactly who they're supposed to be. Because when you're being exactly who you're supposed to be, not perfect or anything, but it's just time. It's time for each and every person in this mastermind to be beyond the top. And I'm telling you, that right there is going to take place. But we're mobilizing at this point and getting in position. And that's why my emphasis on answering this new hiring calling, understanding you really are called to make some great changes far beyond what you would have ever imagined just entering into entrepreneurship or any mission that you have. So before moving forward, does anyone else have anything they want to say about that? Because I know that was a very interesting experience.
It was very interesting. I wrote down, re-listen to this and put an exclamation mark like 5 times. I thought it was very, very powerful. And it goes to, for me, AliNICOLE, what we talked about this week, where I had that download. And I wrote that really short little movie this week that I put up, a little video a couple of days ago. And in it, one of the messages was about, in the new era, leadership transmitting the message is not what it's about. It's we are the message.
Yeah,
and
we are the message. Yeah.
That's, this is kind of in the embodiment, like Tom was saying, and Joseph, everybody. That's what I'm hearing coming forward is it's not about sharing the message in the noise. It's about being the message, like Gina was talking about.
And that's what it's all about. And what you're starting to pick up more so, as I even mentioned on the call last time, is that you're really connecting into the new era expansion. And because all of what you're sharing, like you've only seen like a fraction of some of my stuff around, the new era. But everything that you're talking about is basically within the work and in the communications, and everything, and something that King Rob and I both, as I had mentioned to you, even Queen Renee, that even the publication about broadcasting the brand, and the one that I published some years back on vibrationally broadcasting your business for profits and visibility and profits and more. And then, like I said, it has a subtitle that's long as the Nile River. But so what you all will find is that a lot of the stuff that will be coming to you is part of the cultivation that has, it's part of what this energy is. And so you'll hear me even say, well, yeah, that's right, and I can communicate. And of course, I can pull sources on it and everything because I already have it. But yeah, you'll be receiving insights and wisdom of unlocking what the new era experience is about. And like I said, within this trajectory, this is more than just this is not like a title, and Queen Renee's heard me talk about this before. This is not like when you see something and it says, oh, a new era of this is completely different. This is a literal trajectory that is almost like another world that has been formulated, and it's making its way into like coming into another atmosphere, so to speak, but it is the dominating force. And the more that continues, and especially when there's more consciousness like yours, like I've brought you all into this experience, so your consciousnesses are coming on, or will be more at a higher level, to be able to understand what this is really about. And the more minds that are kind of synced up with it, the more massive and expansive that it happens in energy. And that's why this was not for me to be bringing this forth just, as myself anymore, in this overtaking type of experience, and being able to now bring people into this trajectory where the stuff starts clicking. The more you're actually engaged in it, the more you will hear, and tap into all that I've been allowed to, through Source, to cultivate the experience, so that the understanding is there, and the communications of this is what is happening. And we are broadcasting, transmitting. We are radio tower, radioactive individuals. And whether it's how we show up in terms of being not just committed, but being confident, and the offers and all the different things. It's what you're broadcasting, and everything is about the way of beingness. It's the embodiment. And going back to what Queen Renee said about, being the message, it reminded me of one of my publications, The Inner Voice of the Human Butterfly, and I've got a couple of others, but it is all about the embodiment of the way of beingness. And it is not so much about doing, but you have to be one with the experience. That's how, honestly, with social media, with me having social media sovereignty, because I'm one with everything that I'm demonstrating and putting out. That means there's a connection. It's like when Jesus said, "I and the Father are one." It's a oneness, and in that communication or that connection, you are the embodiment of this higher expression. So I know I'm going on the soapbox here, but it was relevant to to be able to share that. And thank you so much, Queen Renee, because like I said, you have really lately for sure been getting more into the new era energy, and it's allowing you, like I said, now to receive, from what's been cultivated so that it can come through to reach your audience, in a very profound way. But does anybody else have anything that they want to say? Rob, are you still confused? I'm just kidding.
This actually, I really resonate with what Joseph said in terms of, bringing some clarity to our message and rising above the noise and sort of being that change, I guess, that needs to happen. So.
Yeah. No, it's like I said, I knew it would be kind of a mixed, not necessarily a mixed bag of what would be going on, but everything that I'm hearing, which is magnificent, that's coming from everybody, and it's extremely relevant because you understand more, at least I would think you would, or maybe if you go back and listen to it again, you even understand more the importance of an exercise like this. And rarely anybody's doing this, type of exercise because they're not aware of, you get that, Queen Renee, right?
Yeah, and I wanted to say, to touch into Gina's about being that beacon. As we've talked this week, and I've been more, because I have you guys around me, and I've been more confident to just, I think it's we are versus we being, because R is stronger, I am. And this, AliNICOLE, is that I've had people from the past identify themselves. They know something's happening, they know something's different, and they're reaching out to me just like, "Hey, I'm watching you. Oh, hey, can we talk? Hey, can I share your stuff?" And I'm not soliciting, and they're just like, "I don't know what you're doing, but I just can feel it." And that goes back to what Gina's saying, is that be in it. And I think it's affirming to me. I don't know about you guys, but it's affirming to me. I'm being in this new era that I don't totally understand all of it, but I'm trusting, I'm being, and I love it, where other people are starting to raise their hands and say, "I am too," or "I'd like to know, I think that's a big aha of, wow, they're resonating with inside the noise. They picked up something that, and so that's kind of cool that, I don't know, am I explaining that right?
Yeah, you are. It's perfect. Yeah, no, it's right on point. It's right on point. It's you're rising above, but you're immersing yourself more, and so you are, even to an audience, or like you said, of people who may have been seeing you but not even responding or anything, and now people are starting to come forth because they're seeing the difference. They're seeing that there's something that's happening. So that means you're becoming more illuminate, and that's going to just continue. And also too, I want to say this with everyone, and especially those of you who have been on podcasts recently and in different things, just how incredible your presence is and your messages and everything. King Rob, a few weeks back, or was it? Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. Was it King Rob? Or that you were on Ted's show, or three?
Ted's was 2 weeks ago.
Yes, 2 weeks ago, right. And that was just incredible. So incredible, obviously, I had to, interject that, what he was talking about into our first call. And then Queen Renee's 8 minutes of just magnificence. That was, if anybody hasn't heard that, Please go, and because she's definitely in her new era zone. And then Queen GINA, one of her recent podcasts from last night that I listened to, because I actually listened to two of her yesterday, but the 9-minute one, that right there was just incredible. That was incredible. My mind was going in so many different directions of how to leverage that little piece, in addition to the interview and all the other things that she's done too. But, you know, that's, like I said, that's amazing. But everybody's just been doing amazing. And I do want to say this really quick also too, because the last time Joseph and I met, you know, we started in on his Tumblr, and he wanted to get on in on that. And I was like, he, you know, start doing his thing. I was really happy about that because it's just all really starting to come together. And that acceleration energy there is, like I said, it's going to be momentous for sure when everything just starts clicking. So I'm just proud of everybody. And Tom, don't even get me started, because they're like, oh boy, here she goes again about Tom. You know, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that would take me the rest of the, you know, the call to go there. But I'm just extremely, like I said, proud of everyone. So does anyone else have anything else they want to say around the exercise before I move forward? Because I'm going to move through the next phase really, really quickly. It's not really a lot. And then I can open it back up, or if anyone needs to jump off, because we are at the top of the hour. So anyone else have anything? King Joseph, you have anything else you want to chime in? Or am I good to move forward?
You are good. You are clear to take off.
Oh, thank you. Got my aviation going here. Okay, so go ahead.
I just said, just make sure you're wearing your seatbelts, because I think it's going to be.
Yeah, I know, right? Thank you, Queen GINA.